So this is MechAge by Button Shy Games. This is a very interesting take on a game, and it kind of connected with me just by the implementation of a mech game. This is a solo game. There are 4 scenarios currently as of this filming. There are 2 of them that are out. It comes with 2 mech cards, 1 scenario card, and it says scenario rules. The first set comes with the MechAge base set of rules. I'm just going to cover the base game. I will touch ever so briefly on the 2 scenarios that are out, and I'll do a different video for the scenario rules because it changes things up, but just getting an understanding of what the game is about is where I'm at. Now, as you play this game, you need 2d6, and there are recommendations for right there for kinds of cubes. We have cubes of all sorts of colors. Each scenario kind of, will be like, oh, well, you need this many cubes. The reality is, I'd say if you can find 20 cubes, you're in good shape. The colors, while valuable, are not completely, they don't define anything. You'll see what I mean. It's most of the time in the scenario, it's mostly just keep stuff straight because of, you'll see formatting. So let's dive right in and go from there. I'm going to try and keep my hands out of this so I can keep things more in frame. So the scenario cards, I'll show you the 2 that we have. We have the new one, Countdown. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I, again, use my pen so I don't have to muck things up. This is a lot of information taken. The rules do a very good job of keeping things clear. The icons you need to kind of understand: the shield is defense, the starburst is attack, the gear refers to mech, the head is infantry, then everything else is kind of related to its own scenario. The previous one, the kaiju fight for Varanor, you'll always see a range there, and that's what one of the dice is for. One of the dice is not rolled. It's just used as a marker for distance. This obviously has corners of information, has way more stuff going on there. I can't say which one's more complicated at the moment. They play very differently, so that's basically it. They play differently. So there's some legs in the way this game is set up. Now, there are 4 cards, rather. There we go. Thank you, lighting. So you'll see they all have a similar side. However, on the flip side is the other half of the same card. Basically, you need one. Let me get my hand out of the way. One for mech strength, one for infantry strength, and then when combined, Captain Planet, right? No. There we go. That's kind of the setup for everything there. Apologies for the little glare up in the corner there. I sleeve everything. I'm crazy like that. So you're looking at mech strength. You have command line down here. Switching the pen over. Then you have your infantry strength, aka how many units you have. These are infantry positions. And that's it for your mech. So what you'll be doing with cubes, you will have 1 cube denoting what position your entire, basically, if you want to call them squad of infantry, which, if you go by military terms, squad is 8, is located in. You will have 2 cubes, 1 for your infantry command, 1 for your mech command. So that left side, right side. Once after the first turn, when you choose, you must. So if I have a cube here, I can go anywhere on my mech besides here. I can never double dip. Same thing with the infantry. Now, from that, you will then have 2 cubes off to the side, and as your mech takes damage per side, because the threat level will denote which side, you will put a cube on. So you're at 0, then 1 damage, 2 damage, crosses a repair threshold, 3 damage, 4 damage. Most of what you're doing is just taking your mech against these targets. Now, mechs and the grenadiers handle large targets. Infantry, the bullets here, handle small targets, I have to specify. And then, for example, here, the personnel carrier can attack small targets, because otherwise only the mechs can only attack large targets. That would be Varanor. Varanor also comes with this whole little mini swarm thing that you also deal with. That's your small target. Now, you have a twin cannon. Each side has its own special stuff, and depending on the card, like over here, it'll let you activate the special of this side. But you'll see over here the sword. The sword doesn't actually have a special. These are just, restrictions and bonuses. So while it refers to special, that little star down there, that will allow you to activate, but only on this side. So this is left side, this is right side, and obviously with the mech, you need to denote which side there is. Here is your defensive value, here's your damage value, here is your repair value. If your infantry try to take a repair action, they must be, so that's where this little hexagon right here, they must be on the side you need to repair. You will roll a die, add the number of living engineers. So if I have 8 strength, I have all these values. If I go below 5, then I only have +1. If I am at 5 or above, I'll have +2. If I exceed the repair value, I will then, tick one off of that side. Now I know I'm going a little fast. I apologize. For infantry, when they're up here, this adds to the infantry strike value because they're in the front, and it adds to the defensive value of the side they're on. For each shield of living infantry, so if I'm at 8, I have 4 shields with this configuration. Anything less to here, I have 3 shields, then 2 shields. If I'm down at the very last, I'm only adding 1 shield. It adds to the defensive value on that side. But if I get hit on, say, the right side and my infantry's up here on the right side, I don't get the defensive value. So you kind of need to see what the threat is going to do. And this order, it kind of does matter. So, for example, let's just say I get this armor personnel carrier. I can have a repair up here at 8, or I can have a repair over here at 4. So you have repair, bullet, grenade, bullet, repair, bullet, grenade, bullet. Now, obviously, that's the same exact thing, but it matters for what you have access to. So left side, right side definitely are a variable that you may not consider. You might just go for aesthetics. As you play, you'll figure that stuff out. We currently, again, only, we have an earthquake test, apparently. We only have the 4 cards, but there is a great variety in there. Like this one has the ability to counter an enemy attack. Well, depending on the scenario, you might not have to worry about that. This has the ability to, once per game, to drop in reinforcements, but its attack value is not good. But consider it can also add against small targets or add 2 damage to the joint strike action, which, let's see, who does not have joint strike? Where is it? Reading's great, isn't it? So joint strike is here on the heavy cannon, and the joint strike, there we go. Joint strike is on the twin cannon. So only the 2 cannons have joint strike. So obviously, if for whatever reason you go off and you do armor personnel carrier with sword, you fall apart. Wow, that's mega glare. Let me try and turn that. There we go. We can see a little bit better. So if you do this whole, you will not have that extra value because there is not a joint strike in there. So even though the game doesn't bold some of these things, now mind you, if you put everything in bold, it'd be just as confusing. It doesn't bold everything. This is a very literal game, and that was one of the problems I came at, is you have a very literal game. This is the base set of rules. It is only 7 panels, because obviously we're losing that. So this is all the base rules. This covers everything you need to know. And it's very thorough. You just need to take it literally. Slow down till everything becomes natural. Now, when you go to your scenarios, and I'm just going to mention them and then go down from there. Obviously, we have this component needs, so we're already down 2 panels. And we kick 2 up there. So this is only really about 6 panels to tell you how to run the turns and everything else. They're very straightforward. The only part I know what to say is if it feels like you're not getting your answers, take a moment and go with the literal uh, execution of the rules. Once you get that, we'll go through with the scenarios and maybe a recommended loadout. But this is a game where you can experiment, and if you're wrong, you're looking at 30 minutes. But there's a lot of. I'm very excited because we still have two more shipments for the 2019 line. And we already saw we saw two kinds of cannons. We have a power sword, which came with Varanor, personnel carrier. That's awesome. I mean, there's definitely some variety. So we'll have 8 different parts to play the game with, and I think that's really cool. I didn't want it to become a review, but it just did. So this is the base set of rules. We'll go through the scenarios and what you need for those. But the big thing for the scenarios, don't worry as much about the cube counts. For example, this shows, 3 red, then 6 green, and like 6 of a darker green. You just need to be able to keep track of the information. So make sure you have appropriate amount of space around that and the card up top. So we'll be back with the scenarios in another video.